Alright, so we just got done watching Sailor Moon R Episode 8, or Sailor Moon Season 2 Episode 8, if you want to call it that. This episode was called...
Good question.
Let's see, Ray's Day in the Spotlight. That was the English title. However, the school festival is for me, Queen Ray's song. And the thing I find interesting about the English versus the Japanese title, obviously the Japanese title is translated for us. So, the English titles always happen to be very, very blatant to the point. Ray's Day in the Spotlight, and it's kind of boring. They always have it boring. We haven't talked about this in a long time.
The English episode titles are
The
boring?
English episode titles always are.
Because the Japanese, understands that the manga is the source material. Right?
Yeah, and the Japanese
it's
translated...
much more comic book type of name.
Yeah, and the titles...
Baba happens.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not just...
Well, like you just did there, they always have a question. So
and
this
some form of pseudo answer or non-answer.
So it's the school festival is for me. That's what it says. And it says exclamation question mark. Both. The school festival is for me. So anyway.
So this episode centers around something that is a big trope in a lot of sort of high school oriented anime.
Yeah.
And it's where
I'm just gonna grab my notes quickly.
Sure. Basically, I'm a big fan of Haruhi Suzume. There's an episode about this. There's lots of other shows of this around, High School Host Club, a lot of stuff like that. Got episodes like this. But basically, so it's the school festival, and it's basically where they show off all of the activities and clubs, etc. that they have, and they have some form of big assembly where everybody kind of comes together. And Ray is the head of the sort of school festival organization committee.
And just to interject, because I'd like to say, being a newcomer watching the series, and having
our good friend Ethan
jumped ahead to all of this with no background at all, I found, the strong ties to just friendship and confidence throughout the whole thing through the roof, which I really appreciated.
You don't get that in Western television.
You don't get that in Western at all. But that related to the episode. Not sure how that ties in, if the whole series has been like this or not, but...
It's had its ups and downs, but you're on the money.
And Grandpa's back.
Grandpa's back.
That really excited me because
we haven't seen Grandpa since mid-season.
Oh yeah, we haven't seen Grandpa since mid-season.
Probably in 25 episodes.
25 episodes.
That was a really interesting character. He's a bit of a deviant.
He's a bit.
Ray's grandpa. Ray's grandpa. Sailor Mars.
Yeah, and but he's filled with a lot of wisdom, and I was really missing Grandpa
and his comedy.
His comedy is very physical. He has a lot of physical comedies, Grandpa does, and I find that very exciting. The way that he likes to approach the way he speaks to people, and his behavior seems to be very it was very physical, but he's short and stubby, and it's that's what makes for good comedic timings, because he's so weird looking that it makes it very exciting. And yeah, and and Ray was the spotlight girl, which was
great.
Which I thought really related to all of us.
Because we all think of it.
Oh yeah, and that's what I'd like to get to. So we find out. So we've explored a lot of stereotypes, archetypes, character tropes within the series thus far, especially within finding out more and more about the sort of sideline sailors. We understand Usagi pretty well. We understand Luna.
Yeah, she's always nervous, and she's a crybaby, and she was nervous in this episode as much as she's been nervous.
She's very silly, not super self-aware, clumsy, but her attitude brings her good because of her.
She always means well.
And
her inherent good
honesty.
Honesty too,
and she puts friendship and romance first.
She puts other people first.
But in a way that has nuance.
Yeah, sure, yeah. And it makes sense that Ray's the songwriter in this episode.
And that's what I was getting at. So we haven't explored the artist prototype too much in this episode. We had the one episode with Mamoru and Usagi getting the portrait painted of them, but that was a great episode. That was a great episode.
I'm glad you reminded me
of that. This was a great episode as well. But Ray, it turns out Ray is a singer, musician, and composer. And she's good at it, and she has an attitude that I have a lot of respect for in her approach to it.
And it makes
kind
sense
of a fearlessness and looking out for her own sort of self-promotion bottom line.
Yeah, and she comes from a meditative and a very meditation heavy background.
Which makes sense
that she's the songwriter and a composer, because she is used to meditating on certain things, and therefore her songwriting can, come into play there because she is used to having to sit down and really focus on something, be introspective and, take care of herself. Grandpa sees cute girls.
Grandpa does see cute girls, but on an emotional level, how did you guys feel about this between all the other episodes you guys have seen?
I've heard good music.
But it's not about the music.
It's not the best music I've heard because this
No, it's about the philosophy.
It's about the philosophy and the characters. And how did you think the emotion rode in this one?
Now, I think the emotion was there, but it wasn't there like season 1. Like season 1, there were some episodes that really
disagree.
Well, I mean, there were some. So JP might disagree here.
Yeah, but say what you think.
But
I just think that season 1 had a lot of passion.
Okay,
it was coming for us.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like, and there were some episodes that really got me. And, obviously JP doesn't agree here.
What do you think?
I agree with this.
I think this episode was important. But it doesn't beat some episodes.
Season 1, it surprised me more. But we're in the groove now, and that is what it is. But in this episode in particular is what I'm saying.
Well, you know what?
I don't want to get you guys off.
Well,
topic.
no,
this is on topic. In this episode,
you know what? You can get, I think that this episode, I think Sailor Moon R in general has a lot less, emotion. All right.
Than season 1.
Than season 1.
Sure, but I'm talking about this episode.
All right. Well, I mean, this is the episode.
Because I felt the heartbreak in this episode.
This is Sailor Moon Season 2, Episode 8 review. So
this episode was for the artists, and it gave some lessons to some of the artists out there,
Could teach you a thing.
It did. It could teach you a thing or two, but I mean, there
have a lot of our audience is artists. I wouldn't say that we are artists by any stretch of the imagination.
Definitely. And I mean, we're
just personalities or something.
And we enjoy analyzing. We're very analytical people. We enjoy the analyzation of episodes, so we go very in depth into these reviews.
The critical mind.
Yeah, the critical mind. So, I mean, a lot of these reviews, we really go in depth, and I know it's sometimes hard to comprehend, but, I mean, like, this episode, sure, was about the artist, it was about the songwriter, but, like, it was so blatant that I feel like episodes in Sailor Moon Season 1 really spoke to me because of the messages that might have been going over people's heads, more so than other things.
Getting back to it.
Would you agree, though, that this season and this episode in particular, the cinematography, like the anime cinematography, so to speak, has improved quite significantly. The quality of animation is up.
I will agree with that.
This episode, I thought there was a lot of stuff.
Wholeheartedly.
So there's the scene where Sailor Jupiter, Sailor Venus, and Usagi were walking through the sort of high school halls during the school festival.
Yeah.
And you were getting a display of the various club names. And you kind of got like brief flashes of them going to the booths.
You got some translations too through it, and I was checking those out, but I was more.
I don't need those.
And that's what I was going to say. I was more infatuated with the art.
Yeah, the art was really good.
And that's one thing I will.
We've been seeing a lot more ambitious, like the way that they use the frame has been much more ambitious. In that it does kind of what I like to call what do you call it? Exposition. Visual exposition.
Sure.
As opposed to spoken exposition. Yeah. Visual exposition is much more stimulating. It's much more efficient.
You know what I will
storytelling.
Up until
and that's what I like about these episodes is that
this episode had a lot of
the problem you're having. The problem you're having with the series.
Well, I'm thinking that this episode had a lot of storytelling. But the previous episodes in Sailor Moon Season 2 have been nothing. You know what? I felt nothing from these previous episodes.
Alright, so hit me with this. So,
of course.
Y'all are up on this. I'm not up on this. What is the biggest message you took from this episode?
Biggest message I took from this episode?
Come on the spot. Let's go. What do you think? Biggest message you took from this?
Follow your dreams.
Follow your dreams? What about you?
You need to both work hard. Be a Renaissance person.
You're a Renaissance person.
Be mass making.
There's nothing wrong with being interested in lots of very different things.
Mm-hmm. That's a good point.
And then Ray is actually the only nuanced character in this whole thing. Everything else is a walking stick. But Ray, Sailor Mars, got a lot of depth.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and then this guy's not even watching the episode.
What?
For God's sake.
All right. You know what? I may crack up here and there. I'm with my friend Ian, who hasn't seen a lot of Sailor Moon in his time.
I just started.
For pardon my French.
This guy looks
For
like
God.
This guy looks like Post Malone.
I look like
well, you know what?
Rivers.
Pardon my French, but for God's sakes, it is on. For God's sakes, let me tell you. No, I'm serious though. For God's sakes, I don't like saying that. I don't like saying the Lord's name in vain. But I do watch each episode, and I watch them in depth. But here's the thing with Sailor Moon R: each episode has been disappointing me a little bit because they're not as in depth. It's storytelling in Sailor Moon season 1. The Sailor Moon storytelling
You're missing a factor of the criticism here, and it's that these. So we have all these established character relationships and character motives. So we're exploring that and allowing that to give more nuance and more interest and more depth to our characters, as opposed to telling good individual episode stories. Yeah. So we had this episode, which the whole school fair thing, very played out, very boring, very sort of. Like not productive in a grand story sense. You had the whole Doom Tree folk kind of go at it, and it's that's not interesting at all, really. But that being said, I have been put in a place as a viewer to believe that Ray is a singer and that Ray can compose music, and she explains herself, and you're like, that is within her character, and that she's got a bit of a sellout nature, but she's also. She doesn't overthink it, but she does. Yeah. She is a little self-critical.
Sure,
she's got nuance.
There's some character building.
Because the thing for me is the whole time watching this, I was just thinking about your conscious morals, and everybody has morals, but they have morals when they're also intoxicated. They have morals when they're sober. They're different. Morals all around. What did you take from that? Because for me, it was on a completely different trajectory from what you guys have been saying. To me, it was about being your best self. That's what I'm saying. Best self is you. You've never written music, but you want to get into that.
When I'm getting into depth, my thing is that that's what Sailor Mars is about.
Which I respect. I like that.
That's why Sailor Mars is my number one, and I understand why you like Ami. But
I do like Ami-chan because she's very introspective, and she keeps to herself, and she has a lot of things going on for her.
This stuff right here reminds me of Ami-chan. Stuff.
Yeah, and
this Gatorade bottle.
I don't drink.
But some really tasty kombucha.
Just basically, what I want to drive home is that Sailor Moon. Season 1 was all about storytelling, and I appreciated the writing. Whereas in Sailor Moon R, I really appreciate the art. But the storytelling has really been lagging to me. I haven't been enjoying it as much until this episode. This episode has made me, the story was good, but come on, you have to admit the previous episodes of Sailor Moon R, Sailor Moon Season 2 have been a little lackluster.
All right. Okay, here's a question. And
I really like this episode because it spoke to me. And because it was a Mars episode. And because...
Sailor Mars is your favorite Sailor.
And yes, but it turns out Mars... So she sings her song a little bit throughout the episode, but it keeps getting cut off. She gets cut off by the Cardians from the Doom Tree folk. But, she sings her song at the end of the episode, and people really like it. And it's kind of like some Celine Dion kind of stuff. And it's a good song.
Sure, but
would you agree that the song at the end was it was a pretty good song?
It was a good song.
Yeah.
Now I would.
It was a good pop.
You have not.
Song.
I would bump that on my walk.
What have you seen any Sailor Moon Season 1?
I have, but I've only seen I haven't seen a complete episode. I've seen bits and pieces.
How old are you again?
Multiple.
How old are you again?
What are you
21 years old.
You're 21.
21.
You're that young.
21 years old.
Okay.
21 years young.
Okay.
So you only kind of remember Sailor Moon.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I never watched it as a kid.
I'm 20.
Brand new.
Well, it's not like us. Where
I'm
it's
25.
Yeah, and I'm
true,
and I'm 29.
Okay.
So it's we were I definitely remember Sailor Moon.
Definitely.
JP here has definitely been through. You're 21 though. That's pretty young.
Too young to see it on TV.
Yeah, well, you helps out a little bit.
I saw bits here and there, but nothing special. Okay, here's the thing. Interrupt me if you guys have any concluding points. But to finish off this episode review, I was hoping to ask some questions. I was thinking, who would you relate to most out of any of the characters?
Well, my favorite Sailor.
that have been on a Sailor Moon episode.
I must
season
say,
1, Season 2 doesn't
There's
matter.
only 5 sailors.
there's only 5 sailors, and let me tell you one thing.
There's no extras? Come on, there's got to be
I gotta tell you
people
one
besides
thing.
Sailors.
It might
Sailor,
be later, but so
Sailor
far, no.
Mercury.
No.
Sailor Mercury is my favorite sailor, and I see myself in her the most. That's why
Okay.
she's my favorite sailor.
Why?
Why do I see myself? She likes to keep to herself.
Okay.
You know,
So do
but
you,
she's
fair enough.
but she's filled.
Yeah.
She's filled with ideas, and she's had a lot of trauma in her life. You can tell. You know?
Yeah.
And
I
I
relate
find
to
that
that. I
very,
feel
I
that.
find
I
that
feel
very,
that.
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I think JP here favorite
who do you
sailor?
relate to? Who do you relate to?
is Ami-chan. Sorry,
Hey, don't speak for him. Who do you relate to?
I really just Sailor Mars.
It's
You said-
Ray-chan.
You said this episode?
No, any
it's
episode.
Ray-chan.
Any episode?
Like
There's
any
only 5
character.
sailors.
Any character. Doesn't have to be a sailor. I don't know if that's wrong.
I don't want to speak.
Well,
for him,
okay,
but
my favorite is Sailor Mars. I think I kind of relate to Sailor Jupiter in a lot of ways.
Why
more than
Jupiter?
Sailor Mars.
Well, because Sailor Jupiter is like, she's like definitely like, people like really like her, and she's kind of like, just like kind of lives life, and she screws up, and she can be mean, and she can be a little bit,
She's all sides of the ball,
reactionary,
so to speak.
but
Yeah,
she's got a lot of love.
Yeah,
Like,
respect that.
But she's
Respect
kind of a
that.
piner, and she kind of like
Exactly.
she's a little sensitive, but she's strong-willed, and she's got conviction.
Yeah.
And she's a good she's a very like competent individual. You know what I mean? She can take care of herself.
Yeah.
Usually.
Mhm.
More
This
than
is
the
like-
other sailors, other than Venus. But Venus is kind of the mother.
No,
in
I
some
see
ways.
And
that.
I have a,
Yeah, that's why I like
I
Jupiter.
have a
But Sailor
poster.
Mars is a much more interesting character.
So before,
And,
I mean,
nuanced, and like Sailor Jupiter still hasn't really been
Yeah.
fleshed out in a lot of ways.
early on,
So-
yeah, she actually hasn't. Has she had an episode dedicated
Sailor
to her?
Jupiter's had a few episodes, but they haven't been too grand, you know.
Exactly.
Really, the only fleshed out sailors are Ray and Usagi.
That's
What
true.
do you mean fleshed out? Elaborate.
Like we understand, like their family
Yeah,
dynamic
okay,
and
gotcha.
etc. You know,
But
Sailor Venus we kind of do, but Sailor Venus is like
well, Sailor Venus
kind
has,
of some
she
weird,
has a weird story with
what
it
they call in
because-
the industry retconning.
Yeah, and she
Sailor
also
Venus, right?
she
Sailor
she's
V
a little more.
was-
Sailor Venus is a little shallow, to be honest.
Sailor Venus.
She's a little.
No, not at all. What are you talking
Sailor
about?
V.
What show are you watching?
I'm talking about. Yeah, I'm talking about Sailor Venus. What,
What
are you
anime
talking about?
are you watching?
I'm talking about Sailor
Yo,
Venus.
What
She's
makes
a little-
Sailor Venus shallow?
What makes her shallow? She
Yeah,
has
what-
no depth to her.
Everybody.
What if
watched
we- have
that,
you-
man.
have
Oh,
you-
her like the character
Yo,
is
wow.
shallow. Her not the like Sailor
Well, we
Venus.
appreciate
the
you.
character is not shallow.
Is shallow.
But her
I
character is
appreciate
shallow.
you.
Yes.
And we appreciate you.
But I was
That's
going to
all.
say
This
so,
was a great episode. I'm glad that
This was a great
focused
episode.
I'm glad this is Sailor Mars focused
Yeah.
episode. I'm glad that
I have a poster of Sailor Mars and
who
Sailor
cares?
Mercury. Well, I'm saying so. That's my favorite sailor. Who's your favorite sailor?
Sailor Mars.
All right,
Okay,
so we
can
have
I
the
just
poster.
drop-
We have the
not
poster
watching,
of Sailor,
not watching,
Sailor
my favorite
Mercury,
sailor?
Sailor Mercury,
Go.
and Sailor Mars. We have that poster.
Who's your favorite sailor?
Those are the two
My
favorite sailors. I
favorite
want to hear your
sailor?
favorite sailor after this because we have these two favorite sailors here, right on the poster.
My favorite sailor?
All right. Well, have they ever had an episode where they are ever directly related? Do they ever? There's been nothing with
That's
those
good.
two sailors ever.
There's
Sorry,
a-
which sailors?
Sailor, that's
Mercury
actually an
and
interesting
Sailor
point.
Mars.
I would like to see a
Hmm.
Sailor Mercury, Sailor Mars like
There's
dynamic.
never been that. But why do I have the poster?
So far,
that is
Sailor
those two
Mars
sailors?
is my favorite.
Really?
Sailor Mars is definitely my
Good stuff.
favorite.
Good choice.
That's a good choice, but
But I'm behind.
But
But that's
you're a little
from,
bit behind. So that's your favorite
Gotcha.
sailor.
from like my little bit of learning.
Yeah.
That's a standout.
Now,
for sure.
for sailors, that's your favorite sailor.
Yeah.
Character-wise, in this episode, what'd you think?
I don't even know all the characters. That's tough to pick.
So
Like,
Grandpa was pretty funny.
I mean, I can take your
It's
word
good to see
on that,
Grandpa
but
again.
like, I don't.
It was.
I haven't seen enough Sailor Moon
That
to
is
know
true.
character. I got my sailors down. I don't got my characters down.
You know, and just quickly before
honestly, the cat is
the
my favorite
relationship-
character.
Well,
Which,
so
which
there's-
cat?
yeah.
Which cat?
there's a white and a black
The
one.
black
Luna,
cat.
and,
It's the
Okay,
black
yeah,
cat.
Luna's great.
Luna's my favorite character.
Luna's great.
That's a great favorite character.
Yeah, yeah.
Luna's fantastic. Now, just because, like, you know, we've been bombarding Ian here, our guest, with Sailor Moon, and he hasn't really seen a lot.
Brand new.
Before we finish this off, I just want to ask you, what is your favorite show?
My favorite show.
'Cause ours
Like,
is Sailor Moon.
TV show.
Yeah.
That's
'Cause ours is Sailor
That's
Moon.
such a good
Absolutely.
question.
Hence
but
the reviews.
Yeah, of
I'm
course.
gonna have to say, without a doubt, it's gonna be Seinfeld. Absolutely.
That's
There's no question about it.
I like the show. It's a little cynical.
That,
It's a little cynical for my taste, but
It's
I
my
do like
favorite
it.
show of all time.
The Seinfeld is the one with the guy who like opens the door really fast and is like, "Whoa!"
Oh yeah, Kramer.
That's
Yeah,
Kramer.
Is that
it's
Kramer?
definitely him. Yeah. That's Seinfeld, you
That
know?
dude, I do enjoy that show. It's a little
Great show.
too. It's
Like-
yeah.
That's
Like
the
that's
thing,
the one
is-
that's like, "What's the deal with parking?" Right? That's
Yeah, it's that show.
Yeah,
Like, it's
okay,
a
cool.
show about nothing.
Yeah.
It's a show about everyday life.
It's
Right,
just
yeah,
it's
yeah,
not.
It's no
Maybe
Sailor
I
Moon.
should watch. Maybe I should watch some more
You
of that.
should give Seinfeld a shot. You should
What's
definitely
it?
watch
How do you
Seinfeld.
spell that?
Seinfeld. SEINFAELD.
You're
Was
gonna
it
have to
F
write that.
what?
You're gonna have to
F-E-L-D.
write
Yeah, you're gonna
that.
have to write that
You're
down.
gonna have to write that
Okay,
down.
I can do that for
Yeah,
you.
I just like it's not. Is it an anime?
Or wait, you could
No,
you could
it's
Facebook.
it's like
It's not.
No,
an
it's
anime?
like it's real people.
it's real
Oh,
people.
okay.
It's one of
I
those
mean,
ones.
it's good though. Trust
You ever
me.
seen
it's
those
good.
shows with people like laughing in the background? And they're like, you know, you're like, it's like, you know, it's like, what's the deal with parking? And then it's
Oh,
like,
yeah.
ha ha ha.
What
Okay, think about every
Sitcoms.
Yeah,
think about like every
situation
awkward,
comedies. Yeah.
awkward
Situation-
thing you've
Is
had in
Sailor
your
Moon
life.
not a
They've
situation?
done
So-
a bit about that.
Yeah.
They're on
Sailor
it.
Moon's
Seinfeld's
like,
on it, trust me.
Well, I guess I've always considered Sailor Moon.
You ever look
You
at
know,
Yes,
Jerry?
it is comedic
situational
elements.
comedy.
It's certainly
Seinfeld?
not a drama neither.
Yeah,
Well, it's
but
magical girls.
Yeah.
It's
yeah, but you know, he's
yeah.
like I just
Okay,
I
no,
enjoy
guys,
it. I
guys,
just-
guys, guys, guys,
All right,
guys,
all
guys,
right,
guys,
all right,
guys.
all right,
No,
we got it.
and I'm gonna say
We're way
this, I'm gonna
off
say this.
track.
We're fucking done. This is
Whoa!
fucking done. No,
Oh my
this
god!
is
21
Oh my
minutes,
God.
it's
Whoa,
over.
Whoa! What
Is
the?
that where we're
It's
at?
What was
over.
that? What was that?
That was a swear word.
That was crazy. I've never seen
I'm
the last
sorry.
show like
I'm
that.
Cheers to
sorry.
that.
Can you
Cheers.
please? Can you please bring that?
Yes,
Please
I
take it.
apologize. But what I'd like to
That
say
really,
is
really
I
got
think
to me.
we've
That really got to me.
dragged this up. No,
You
no,
know,
no,
fam?
no, no,
That
no,
really
no,
got to me.
No. Ian,
Uh,
you're our guest. Do
You're a
not
guest. You don't
touch
touch
the camera.
You do not
Don't
touch
the camera.
the equipment.
I was
You do
gonna
not touch the equipment.
change it for a different perspective or something like that, but not really.
What I want to say is I want to say cheers
Okay.
to you
I feel out of place, but cheers.
and our audience. And I'd like to say
Um,
thank you for watching.
Yeah, I love Sailor Moon. So do you.
Thanks for watching. Appreciate you. Thanks for watching. It's been great. This is a great episode. I'm glad. Sailor Mars episode. Can't complain. Thanks for watching. Thanks for watching.